All right, we have the Woodland Retreat 9-hole cup. So last week we had the 4th of July tournament. So this is how it went down. Dunner and I set it all up. He was doing a stream. I was recording my stuff. When we got all done, he kept shooting. I'll put a link in this video to his video. He kept shooting and he shot another hour and a half's worth of content for another account. But it started off, me and him shot, he shot his Dunner account and I shot my 77 account. And we went out there and I really wasn't paying attention to what we were shooting. I was just shooting. Just playing it one hole at a time, and I never look up the scales to see where we're at. And I know that we're sinking shots, but I'm like playing the hole and we're sinking a shot, and then I'm like totally not thinking about it, because like you're going out to that hole and you're totally set up, you're trying to get the eagle. Okay, we got the eagle. Okay, we go to the next hole, but I'm not doing the math, and I'm not adding up what's behind me. And we popped off. So we get onto the back. We've started the front 9. And we've both shot a 16. We're at 16. We're each at 16. And we did not hole in one this par 3, but we hole in one this par 3, and this par 3, and this par 3. And so we've gotten 3 in a row, and I dropped 10. So I'm really bummed at the beginning, and he got 10. So he's one up on me. And then I ended up getting another par 3. Ended up getting 4 out of the 6 par 3s, I think. Is that right? It was a pretty great round. So we get on to we're at hole number 18, and if I finish it off, I can be at 31, and he's going to be at 32. So my only hope is to get an Albie on the last hole so that I can, because even though we're playing in a bracket and we're doing that stuff, Dunner and I are playing, we're like bragging rights playing against each other. And I ended up getting the Albie on hole number 18 to tie him. And I ended up getting the Albie on a great and ended up tying him for the 32s. And so it was a great video. I mean, awesome video. And then there's no sound. What the shit kind of deal is that? So sorry about that, but I'll put a link in this video so that you can watch it from Dunner's side, and you can see both of our screens. And we'll you can watch it from there. It was a great round. I had a lot of shots that I didn't hit perfect on, that I missed, and I put myself in a spot of bother on a couple of the par 5s. I wasn't in the right spot. I overhit or was in the rough and swirled the cup on one, and it was a great round. And I really didn't realize until we got to the very last hole where we were at as far as scoring. So that made it even better to get the win. All right, that's how that week went. So now we're on the Woodland Retreat. The Woodland Retreat. Let's go check out. This is all at. Let's check this out real quick here. Let's make sure. Woodland Retreat. Watch out for the green trees in the Woodland Retreat 9-hole cup. Sequoia Creek for this next tournament, where looming redwood trees surround this secluded course. Don't get too distracted by the gorgeous scenery, though. You'll need to keep your eyes on the prize. But that's not all. With the increased qualification zone modifier, an extra 25% of you can qualify. That means a total of 75% of the golfers in the bracket will be able to prove their skills in the weekend round. I don't know why they don't do that every week. Why would you cut out, when you get to the weekend round, I mean, hell, half the people that are playing aren't playing, less than half. I mean, why they're selling balls? That's a lot of people that aren't using inventory. Why would you do that? Every tournament should be 75%, but it doesn't say anything about new tees. So I'm not sure. It seems like we did come out with some new tees for this, but I could be wrong. I could be. We'll go to Tommy's site, Sequoia Creek. Let's see if he's got it up yet. The Woodland Retreat 9-hole cup. Look at that. All right. What are we doing on hole number 1? Now, I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not really too concerned about numbers at the beginning of the week. I really, and my whole goal the first day is to, now obviously if you have notes from your last, if you have notes from the big rig tournament, you can go pull up your, was that the last one I was in? The Redwood Cup, the Wilderness, the big rig, the Black Hole. You can go pull up those notes from that tournament and find out what clubs to use. The deal is, if you're moving up the ranks, you may find that from the last time we played this hole, you had an extra mile 4 and now you got an extra mile 6, or you got an APOC 3 and last time, and now you got an APOC 4 or 5, and now you got more curls, so things will change. So figuring out what club, I was getting the sunshine there, what club and what ball, that's really the whole deal, and which direction we want to come at it. So you can, from rookie, you can play and try and come around this way. It's kind of hard to get around the sand trap to get deep down in there, but there is a shot that you can do over there. And from the back tees, that may be the deal, is to lay it up out into this area and then come forward at it. From the rookie tees, if we bring out the right stuff, we can go straight forward. It's one of those bounce diddy bounce things, and if I remember correctly, we're trying to do like the bounce diddy bounce, or the bounce into the rough, bleed out. If I remember correctly, it was possible to get a bounce onto this, a bounce onto this, a bounce over, and stick before you got to the other side, but it was a real sticky, close deal. You had to have everything going your way. I think the rough bump was the better option as far as like getting out there, but there is definitely an adjustment. And this is one of those things where, here's the deal with this hole. We need an eagle, because there's going to be way too many people at the top of the bracket that it's not going to matter if they have to bring out a 5 power ball, a 3 power ball, a 4 power ball with 75 top spin and 25 side spin assist. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they need to bring out. There's going to be way too many people at the top of the bracket that are going to come out and eagle this hole every time, because they're going to bring out whatever ball it is, regardless of what their clubs are. Because a lot of the ball inventory that's out there nowadays, you can take that level 4 or 5 extra mile and you can bring out a power 5 ball that's got top spin boost, and now all of a sudden it's the same as an extra mile 9. So they're going to bring out whatever it takes and go this route. From the back tees, I'm not sure what the deal is with this route, but we're definitely going to take that route in Ricky. Faux show. No doubt about it. We need to get an eagle on that hole. We got a great rough bump here, and if I remember correctly, this was, we were in like rock. We were in driver range doing the rough bump off here, and it seemed like there was like a plus 10%. It was like somewhere in that range. I could be wrong on that, but it was definitely a rock, and I think we needed a ball that had a little bit of side spin on it. So I'm not sure if we were bringing like a Kingmaker, if we were bringing a big ball because we were in driver, or if we were playing it with a Katana or a Quasar. I'm not sure on the ball, but I am pretty sure that we were hitting it with a rock and we were doing that rough bump right there. A great opportunity for hole-in-one right here. This is definitely a hole we want to figure out. Hole number 3. Alright, just trying to think of our options here. It seems to me that there was 2 ways that we could go with this. Okay, first of all, if you've never played Sequoia before, these trees right here are not representative of how gigantic the trees are out there on the course. So, like, here's the fairway and here's the width of the tree. This tree is big. So if you end up, this isn't like a lot of forests where this tree is actually taking up that much space out here on the course. So if you end up anywhere in this area right here, if you just come over and you rough bump it out and you get right there, you're fine. You can go around the tree and come at it this way. But even if you get out, maybe even all the way to the tip out here, you could still go around. But if you're on this side over here and you're behind that tree, it definitely impairs your shot. But if you bring out the right stuff, you really have 2 ways you can go. You can lay it up right here, and then you've got this shot. And you have several different ways that you can go on that shot, depending on what you bring in your bag. So I think there's one where you can start at the top of the hill and you can come down and do it. I think you can do a rough bump from here. You can bounce over and bounce all the way over and not do, and you can do a second bounce. There's a lot of different ways that you can approach this. And it does seem to me too that this was a hole that we were bringing out, like this might be a horizon hole where you need, if you're going to do this rough bump, in order to get it to it, you need the top spin. And the horizon, or some club with lots of top spin, your big dog. And the horizon works good because it may have better ball guide. So if you're looking for, what you're looking for here, if you've got mid or lower developed clubs, is you're looking for the longest hitting wood that you have that's got the best ball guide. It'll probably be it'll be between the horizon and the big dog in most cases. The other way to go at it, and I will tell you, I'm just going to put out a little disclaimer here, a little warning thing. I should have did this at the very beginning of the video, is that this course right here, I think the last time we played it, there's 45 holes in the tournament, and I think if we take the par 3s out, and I'm not necessarily sure we aren't using some bigger balls on the par 3s, but if we take the par 3s out, that's 6 times 3 is 18, so that's minus 18. So that gives us 27 holes, and I think on every one of those holes, like, a bigger power ball will help, like every one of them. So like this course is definitely going to deplete your big ball inventory. It's not that you can't play it with lower developed balls, but you can give yourself a marked advantage. You can play to this spot right here and do this shot with a power 3 ball. Hold on. But if you can get over to here and take this shot, you've definitely gone from wood to, long iron, possibly even short iron, depending on how far you can get out there. And it's definitely worth bringing out a bigger ball for. Hold on one second. Hold on. All right. Just making sure it was the UPS guy. So the deal is if you bring out the right stuff, you can go from the tee box, getting a bounce out here, bridging the gap, then trying to run forward and ending up out in this area. And this is one of those deals where if you hit it out here and you're going through, if you hit it to the left, because of the way that the fairway bleeds off like this, you'll run out of fairway faster. So it's easy. Your fail zones will be in here, or you'll be rubbing up against this. You don't want to fail at the very beginning. That's bad. Bad.
Right.
Bad. That's no bueno. One. Look at that. Look at that. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So I'm definitely going to be going for the shot up here. And I can't remember. It seems to me that it was a grizzly shot coming in. And I think it takes the rough. I don't think I have a rough bump shot from over here. Dunner actually likes the shot from right here where you come out and you bleed it up and you do the rough bump that way. So we have a couple different ways that we can do it. Just don't be behind the tree. This is another hole that I really do think that we've had these holes where they changed the pin placement, because there is a rough bump that you can do from this area right here and bring it around, and it is really sticky on how to do it, where you can end up way down here at the bottom. But there is a rough bump that you can do from here coming at it, and I think it was with a sniper. But you might have had to bring out a bigger ball. I'm sure it was at least a katana with the 3 side spin, because it seems like it took the side spin. And finding the spot out here, it seemed like there was several spots that might work, but like finding a spot out here, and the first thing we need to write down is like what kind of spin. It's 3 backspin or 3 top spin and 2.5 left side spin, or whatever this number happens to be, so that the next time we come here, the first thing we do is put our spin on and then go find the spot, because the spot's kind of hard to find. So this is a hole you definitely want to practice on and come out here and just, like, who cares if you even get to take the shot? Look in this area and see if you can find a spot that works. I personally would rather have a spot that was up here, but it seems to me that the spot was closer to the edge down here in this bush. But there is definitely a rough bump that we can do on there. That is a pretty decent shot at hole-in-one. I have seen people go at it if you bring out the right stuff. If you bring out the right stuff, you can come at it from this direction. But if we look at, let's look at where our tee box is. See if we, how much, man, that's how long the hole is. I can't even get back to the, I can't, if we draw a line straight to the tee box, we're going right through that tree, coming down here to the green. So if you're coming this direction, and then trying to bring it around to come around the tree, thinking about where your bounce is out here and then where you're at coming out. What I see most people do if they're trying to bring it around this way is they'll end up clipping the rough, and then they'll end up forward. But when they come around the bend, they'll end up clipping the rough somewhere in this area and then bleeding off somewhere into that, and then they still have this to do. Whereas if you come at it from this direction, you don't have to get, if you get your first bounce where you wanted it and you got your trajectory right, you're bleeding down the fairway, there's no way you're going to clip the rough. Where you get off here is if your trajectory was off, so that you came in on this angle and then you ended up bleeding off into the rough here, or you ended up bleeding off into the rough here, which is easy to repair. You can change your ring set when you set it up before you move your wind to fix that problem, but it's definitely easier to get a run. You can also, even though it doesn't look like it on this picture, you can also, here's this tree, when you're back from distance, there is a lane that runs through those trees that runs pretty close. And you got to do, it runs kind of like that. And you need to do a little teeny bit of curl in order to bring it around and catch this up. And you do have a little bit of room in this spot. Normally, if I'm going to do this, I'll set the line up so that I'm hitting this tree, or I'm right on the outside edge of this tree. I may even be hitting it where I can't even see my ball guide anymore. I'll make sure my ball guide's right, and then I'll move it over to the point where it just clips the tree and disappears, because when you add the curl's not represented in your ball guide. As soon as you add the curl, even if you hit it perfect, as soon as you add the curl's making the shot go like this, and so even on a perfect shot, you're going to miss the tree because you applied a little bit of curl. But this shot over here is a little bit, you have a little bit more leeway, but you have to use more curl in order to pick up the angle. It's definitely better, okay, it's definitely better, even though you will not need a bigger ball every day. I think it's definitely better to bring out a Power 5 ball where you can start off in a spot. You can pull back from the red line, give yourself a couple, as many rings of maneuver as you can on your red line. And in a situation like this, I try and kind of balance myself up so that I was wedged in between. So let's say, for instance, with a 5 power ball, my red line was there. I would try and wedge it up so that my ring set is wedged up so that I'm the same distance from the center, from the rough, as I am from the red line. And that gives me, because I don't want to pinch myself up down here either. If it worked out that I was like, if it worked out that it was like this, where my red line was here, and, you know, to give myself a couple rings, I might pinch myself up down here and only be a ring away on this end, and give myself a little bit more room on headwind days. That way, on days when we come out here with headwind, and we've got this kind of wind, we've given ourselves, you know, at least 4 miles, 5 miles an hour of wind that we can pull out, so we don't have to change our shot from day to day. You could probably get this done with a 3 power ball every day, but every day you're going to have to do something different, and every day you're going to have to use different power. So it could be tricky. This is a hole right here. We need to get an eagle. So whatever it takes, once again, this is like the first hole. We need to get an eagle on this hole. Whatever ball it takes. Hole number 6. Hole number 6. Trying to remember. I might actually have to play this hole. If I remember correctly, we were trying to get the ball over here. Is that right? And we're definitely not hitting through the trees here. I'm trying to, okay. I was trying to remember this hole. I was like, I can't remember. You can try, it is impossible. Okay, this is where the 4 and 5 side spin balls come in handy. Because in a situation like this, if you start off at the tee box, okay, the holes, now it's all becoming clear to me. First let's draw this line. Okay, over to this island. And if you are starting off on this side and then trying to bring your ball around to get in here, this is, this angle is, even with an APOC, you can make this turn, but you're not going to be able to stretch it out. Like, you're going to end up out in this area. It's easy to end up behind these trees coming into the cup if you're trying to get over into, if you're trying to bring it around over into this fairway. And you're going to see a lot of people this week that are trying to bring it around over into this fairway, and what's going to happen is they're going to get caught behind these trees, because when they brought it around, they ended up in this area. And so if you really want to try and get around this corner and you're starting on this side, bringing out a big ball, if you're going to start over here, side spin is key. But you won't be able to put all of the topspin on it, and if you do, you'll end up against the rough line, and it'll put you behind the tree. So if you're going to come over here, you're really going to have to practice that with whatever you have in your bag. Me personally, you can bring out a bigger power ball and you can go this direction. Now, if you get on one of those days where there's lots of headwind and you make this bounce, but you end up getting screwed over here and you get caught up in the rough, or you just barely bleed out, this tree is going to be right in your way. So you will be impaired. You really want to kind of get to halfway on this island. It is possible, depending on the wind that we have, it is possible to get your bounces in such a way that you can get to this island, but it is difficult. Typically, if you're really trying to get to this island, you're going to end up in this rough quite a bit, possibly the sand, but normally this rough, because you have no control over it at this point. So how it responds down here, you got to get your bounces just right when it comes down to that rough. This area right here is pretty decent. You got a killer shot at it. You're past the tree. So if you're coming over to this side right here, like just aiming for the front of this island so that you're on this side of the tree is fine. But it's so hard to just aim for that I'm going to actually be aiming for this all week, and somewhere in here is where I'm going to land. But this is where I'd really like to land. We'll have to see. I'm curious to see what some of the topspin boost balls can do. I think the first time we played this, the albatross balls might have been out. And we've played this several times, so I know that we've had to have played it with some of the boost balls. But as we come back to some of these courses with some of these newer balls, it's just kind of rethinking how we play them, making sure that we're using our equipment to the best of its ability. I'm definitely going to be going straight forward, but you're going to see a lot of people this week that are going to be trying to bring it here, and you're going to see a lot of them end up behind this tree and end up with a shitty shot. I'd rather go for this and end up in the rough out here and have that shitty shot than end up here where I'm in the fairway and can't get to the green because I got all these trees in my way. That's just me. Hole number 7. Hole number 7. Okay, this is one we can definitely get on. So you can lay it up out here, and that's pretty easy. Just going in this direction and just laying it up out into this area. If we draw the straight line to the tee box, we have this sand trap that's like right here, right in our path. You can easily get over to the other side, and once again, this is just like those other holes, bringing out the right equipment, and it may be better to bring out that right equipment even on days when you don't need it, so that you can do the exact same shot you did last time, so you end up in exactly the same spot. But just getting anywhere over here is a win, as long as it's on the fairway. I mean, if you did get up here in the rough, I mean, that's not where you wanted, but that's you hit it perfect and it goes in. But anywhere over here on the green is a win. So getting the bounce over and then coming over, it's better. Let's all just admit right now, Because it'll happen. It happens to me when I get out on the field. You'll look at it and you'll go, well, you know what? I could just skirt that. That'd get me just a little bit closer. You answer this question and then we'll all know the answer. Would it be better to be right here or right there? Which would you rather take 100 times, and which one are you going to make more? I'm assuming you all have your hand raised at this, or pointing at this one, which is A, the A shot. So when we get over to the other side, we all want to get close. I get it, but it's better to just be over and in the fairway than it is to have tried to get super close and end up in the sand. Let's all agree that we won't end up in the sand. We'll just all end up in the fairway over there, but we may be 5 yards further away. We'll be all right. This is I really think that all three of these par fours we have to get. I mean, it's almost like a 2 out of 3 ain't bad. You have to get 2 of the 3, at least 2 of the 3. But what we should be aiming for is all 3. So if the minimum score is 12 and we have to get all 3 of these par fours, that means we have to get a 15 just to be the minimum. But we can definitely get up there. Definitely. Number 8. And I'm thinking, this is where some of those balls with the topspin, if you bring out a big power ball with topspin boost, you might not have to do any overpower, and that would be even better. Hole number 8. Alright. I think this is I do not like this type of par 3. I'm going to check out on this hole and see if there's a no move, or like check it out. This picture doesn't do this justice as far as terrain, and I'm probably going to get it wrong here. But let's start off. Let's say that this is A. This is A, and it's right here. I think it's coming down. It's coming up right here. This is B. I think it comes up for B, and then it comes down, and then it comes over, and here's the green, and here's C, the green, and this is D. And so it's this area right here is all this little hill going up, and this is one of those types of areas that if you try and run your ball guide, where, think about how your ball guide's working. Your ball guide's running along, and you're up here in this spot, and it's running along, and you're asking it to go up, down the hill, and then it's trying to kind of dig in right here, and then you want it to go up the hill, and at some point it's like, dude, it gets up here to the top of the hill, and it's like, fuck, I can't do this anymore. So then it's short, and then you push it forward just a little bit, and it moves it here, and then it crests the hill over here, and then the ball guide jumps to the other side of the cup, and you can get a run in these areas, especially if you hit on if your first shot comes in and it hits right here on this downhill side, you won't get necessarily a bounce. It'll hit and slip, and once it slips, it just starts following the contour of the course. This could be a very dangerous hole. I think the deal for me is to try and either get right up close or right here at the bottom of this, so that you come in and you're bounce number 1 and you're guaranteed a good bounce, and then it bounces up on the green. I think the last time we were here, we were really kind of looking at this area right here and trying to be closer, but I'm going to see if I'm going to check out what the no move, see if there's a no move that's on it, or see what the deal is. I'm going to play around on this hole, because this hole right here, I don't think I've had a lot I think I've made this hole a few times, but this isn't a hole that I've had a lot of success like the other ones. This will be let's see if by the end of the week we can make this hole the hole we can't wait to get on. Hole number 9. All right, there's a bunch of different ways to play this hole. You can lay it up. You can just go straight from the tee box and lay it up down out into this area, and you got a really long wood up to the cup. No fuss, no muss. And I don't think you need to bring out anything special. You may be short back here if you bring out a lower power ball, but if you bring out a club like Horizon or Cataclysm or something that's got big dog, someone's got lots of topspin, you can work your way down towards the green. You can go from the tee box, getting bounce number 1, bounce number 2, depending on your ball, and you can try and get through these trees. There's several lanes. There's a lane right here, and I think there is a lane somewhere in this area, and you can try and come this way. The farthest that I've ever gotten doing this is where I came through like this, and I did get a bounce that was in here, and I got a bounce that was right here, and then it went over, and I ended up over on this side. And I think from down here it was, shit, it might have been short iron. I know from here it's long iron. And so you can get over onto this fairway, and you got a pretty straight up shot. And the other cool thing about it is not only you have a pretty straight up shot, but you're almost on the same level as the green. So like as far as elevation or change in the shot, it should be pretty close. It's still different, but it's not as bad as it is if you're up here on the upper tee. And I've played for down here quite a bit, tried to play for this spot quite a bit, but you can get yourself in a spot of bother if you play for that spot. The last time we played this hole, well, I think there was new pin placement the last time we played it, but the last time we played it, I was coming into, what I was trying to do is go for right here. I was trying to go for this bottom block, and I was ending up in the tree or in this rough area over here where I was coming around the bend and then bleeding off here, so I needed more side spin or more curl to get me off into this trajectory. Or you could just hit for the tip, because you have a great shot coming at it from up here. I believe that obviously this shot right here or this shot right here are probably better. Now these two shots are probably the same, but instead of going for the risk down here, you can lay it up right here and you got a really decent shot, and you're inside, you know, instead of shooting it out to here. Or if you were just trying to go for here, this shot's a lot less risky, and it doesn't take much to get there. It only takes a couple topspin. And you're going to need to use your rock or your quarterback. You can use one of the 100% accurate clubs. There's a tree. Where the heck is that tree? This might be it right here. This tree, where if you come out here with a rock and you're in this area with just a couple spin, you can get, you're going to have to pull it back a little bit in order for your curl to get effective, but you can try and lay it up on this island right here. But I'm going to try and get it where I get a bounce out in this area, and then I'm trying to bridge this gap. And I think the last time I was here, like I said, the problem I had was I was landing in this area because I didn't have enough side spin. I obviously had enough curl. I'm using an APOC, and I obviously had enough curl, so I needed more side spin. And it is one of those things where if you use a 5 side spin ball, you can only get 4.5 side spin, and then you can only get 4.5 top spin. And this is one of those shots where you're trying to get around the bend, but you need to bridge this rough gap, so you need the top spin to get you over. So 4.5 might not be enough. So I'm going to practice this, because I am trying to get to this area right here. I think it's easier to get on the inside of this than it is to try and get on the outside. And on the outside, with the size of these trees, if you end up behind a tree, you could be in some serious ass trouble. And I have made, for as little time as we've played these holes, I have made a bunch of alvies on this hole. So it is definitely alviable. Definitely. Kmart sucks. And the way that it comes into the green down here, you're not necessarily doing a rough bump. It's so damn steep on this side. You're actually doing one of those shots where it comes down like this, and it's so steep that you're hitting on the fairway. But it's so steep in this area, you're getting a rough bump effect. You're getting the effect of, because like right here's the rough. You know, the rough starts right here, and you're hitting it right in front of it, and it's so steep that you're getting the same effect as if you were hitting in the rough, where it's hitting the spot, and it's damn near coming to a stop and losing all of its power, and then it's just sliding on the course. And you're actually trying to get that slide that we normally hate. You're actually trying to get that. All right, there is a quick little scouting report on the Woodland Retreat 9-hole Cup. I'm going to see if I can get a hold of Dunner later on today, and maybe we'll go out there and actually, now that it's open in the game, go out there and see if we can practice, because it is, and get hooked up, because it's always good when Dunner and I can get matched up when we're practicing, because we can really go out there and give you guys some good content as far as like what it looks like out on the course. That's one of the reasons why you should never want people to ever be able to practice by themselves. All right, thanks for watching. Everybody have a great week, and I will catch you on the next one.